sixth schedule in Manipur. So before we look into why, or rather before we present the case for extending the sixth schedule in Manipur, I think it is important that we look a little bit into the background of the state. So Manipur, as we know, is a small northeastern state in India. It is distinguished by its rich cultural diversity and complex social fabric. Manipur, meaning the land of jewels, is a state which is bounded by Nagaland in the north, Mizoram in the south, Assam in the west, and Burma or Myanmar in the east and the south. Now, geographically, Manipur is divided into the hills and the centrally situated valley. The valley is oval-shaped, 790 meters above sea level, surrounded by hills on all sides. This geographic division is a determining factor in the socio-political and historical development of the land. The population of Manipur may be divided into two major groups. The Meiteis in the valley, who constitute the majority community and account for about 57% of the state's population, but occupy only 10% of the land area. On the other hand, the tribals, comprising of the Nagas and the Kukis, are about 37% of the state's population, but occupy about 85% of the land area in Manipur. However, the 10% land which is occupied by the majority community is the most fertile, well-irrigated and alluvial river valley. As a result, the valley progressively grew more prosperous, opening up an economic gap with the tribes in the hills, thus marking the roots of all complicated problems of disparity and inequity, further widening the already existing hill-valley divide. These tensions, deeply rooted in historical grievances, have led to ongoing autonomy demands, particularly from the hill tribes, and today we will be examining the demand for greater autonomy by the tribals of Manipur in the form of extension of the sixth schedule. So before we move forward, we look into what the sixth schedule is. Due to time constraints and since we have been talking about the sixth schedule, I'm sure we've all come to know by now what it aims to do, and so I will not really go into detail that much. However, the sixth schedule, the Article 244 of the Constitution provides for a sixth schedule which shall apply to the administration of tribal areas in the states of Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram. It establishes autonomous district councils as self-governing institutions in tribal-dominated districts, granting territorial autonomy to the areas under their jurisdiction. As Mr. Wangchuk had rightly said yesterday, the sixth schedule reflects the generosity of the Republic of India in accepting the diversity and different ways of the indigenous people. Now we look into the case of Manipur. The situation in Manipur concerning the sixth schedule and its extension is notably distinct. While the sixth schedule serves as a mechanism for tribal self-governance and applies to tribal states in 9 tribal areas, with specific provisions for 4 northeastern states, which we've mentioned already. In contrast, the hill districts of Manipur were excluded from both the 5th and the 6th schedules, making it the only northeastern state without the benefits of the 6th schedule. Instead, an Act of Parliament named the Manipur Hill Areas District Council Act 1971 was passed, which paved the way for the creation of ADCs in Manipur's hill areas. Now we look into the difference between the ADCs under the 6th schedule and the ADCs in Manipur. So the ADCs under the 6th schedule are empowered by Article 244 of the Constitution, whereas the ADCs in Manipur are empowered by an Act of Parliament. The judicial powers of the ADCs under the 6th schedule allow the ADCs to establish village courts to adjudicate on matters within their jurisdiction, particularly those related to tribal customs and practices. On the other hand, the ADCs in Manipur do not have judicial powers, and judicial matters are dealt by the state judiciary. The financial autonomy of the ADCs under the 6th schedule can levy, collect revenues, and receive grants from the central government, giving them a substantial degree of financial independence. On the other hand, the financial autonomy of the ADCs in Manipur the EDCs in Manipur have lesser financial autonomy, and they rely primarily on funds allocated by the state government and do not have revenue generating powers. This dependence on the state funding limits their financial independence. With respect to administrative powers, the EDCs under the 6th schedule have control over subjects like agriculture, land management, village administration, etc. On the other hand, the EDCs in Manipur do not whereas with respect to the EDCs in Manipur, key areas such as health, education, infrastructure are still under the control of the state, which limits the EDC's effectiveness in these sectors. Now, with regards to the legislative powers, the EDCs under the 6th schedule have wider legislative powers spanning several matters including land management, forests, inheritance, marriage, etc. Whereas the EDCs in Manipur limited to personal matters like marriage, divorce, and social customs. Another point of difference between the EDCs under the 6th schedule and that of Manipur is that there is no, under the 6th schedule, there is no single official such as the Deputy Commissioner who holds overarching authority over district councils. Instead, the councils are empowered with a range of mandatory functions including executive, legislative, judicial, development, and financial powers. In contrast, the current administrative framework in Manipur offers some protection to tribal communities through Article 371C, but heavily depends on the initiative and political will of the members of the legislative assemblies from the Hill areas who represent the Hill areas committees. From the outset, the Act had faced significant opposition as it was perceived as a threat to the autonomy that these communities had maintained through the traditional systems of self-governance across various aspects of life. As mentioned above, the powers of the EDCs under the 6th schedule are significantly greater than that of the EDCs under the Manipur Hill Areas District Council Act. Thus, it is alleged that no true autonomy is ensured by this Act, and autonomy granted to these councils is often perceived as a limited or ineffective scheme. Now we look at the demand for the 6th schedule in Manipur. So it is not surprising that the tribal communities in Manipur have consistently called for the extension of the 6th schedule to the Hill areas. Moreover, the Hill Areas Committee has also been advocating for the extension of this 6th schedule as early as from 1974. Now, the 6th Schedule Demand Committee was formed with all Manipur district councils and the All Tribal Students Union of Manipur ATSUM. Tribal groups collectively called for amending the Manipur Hill Areas District Council Act to grant greater autonomy. In 1973, the Manipur Hill Union and the Kuki National Assembly expressed dissatisfaction with the Act calling for greater autonomy. Then from 1980s onwards, the demand for 6th Schedule also grew. In 1973 to 1989, the district councils operated, but protests led to the dissolution and a boycott of elections. In 1990, the Hill Area Committee resolved not to hold elections unless the 6th schedule was extended to the councils. Various high-level government committees also supported this demand, including Hill Area Committee resolutions in 1978-93 and the subcommittee's draft constitution based on neighboring states model, the National Commission to review the working of the constitution, and chaired by former Justice of India, Justice Venkatakalia in 2002 recommended that the provisions of the 6th schedule be extended to these areas. So as we can see, there have been several demands both by high-level government committees to extend this provision to the hill areas of Manipur. So certain conflict of interests rise over the demand of the 6th schedule. The Meidei-led state government to the demand, recently the continued opposition by the Meidei-led state government to the demand of 6th schedule status has contributed to the radicalization of ethnic groups and intensified the conflict-driven nature of politics in Manipur. This stance has instilled a sense of insecurity among the minority tribal communities, promoting them to call for various forms of autonomy in order to secure territorial concessions in their favor. The Meidei community in turn has opposed the tribal demand for the conversion of the Manipur district councils to 6th schedule status, citing concerns over a potential threat to Manipur's territorial integrity and the possibility of creating states within the state. Now, coming to why should the provisions of the 6th schedule be extended to Manipur? The demand for autonomy often emerges from ethnic assertion and the desire to expand political influence, frequently accompanied by tensions and conflicts. However, autonomy can also serve as a mechanism for conflict resolution or transformation, particularly in diverse societies. In Manipur, the push to extend the 6th schedule, replacing the current inadequate legal framework, has become a pressing political necessity. The protection of indigenous communities. Now, as Manipur is home to a significant number of indigenous ethnic groups, many of whom fear being overwhelmed by outside populations and losing their cultural identity, the 6th schedule could help preserve their traditions, languages, customary laws, etc., to an even greater extent. Granting autonomy rather than denying it is essential for preserving the state's unity and integrity. The 6th schedule should be seen not only as a tool for political decentralization, but also as a means to enhance grassroots democracy and reshape the dynamics of the majority-minority relations within the state. It offers a way to ensure that all communities, regardless of size or influence, can equally participate in the governance of the state. Addressing ethnic tensions. Manipur has witnessed ethnic and communal tensions among different communities, and the 6th schedule could help bridge these divides by ensuring that the distinct needs and aspirations of both communities are addressed in a fair and inclusive manner. Strengthening peace and stability. With more autonomy, local tribes in Manipur could potentially have a greater stake in maintaining peace and order in the region. The promise of greater self-governance and self-determination could help reduce the alienation and unrest that has sometimes led to insurgency and violence. Extending the provisions of the 6th schedule would provide a legal framework to safeguard the traditions, enhance political representation, and foster economic self-sufficiency. By addressing these concerns through greater autonomy, the state can move toward being more inclusive and equitable governance. In conclusion, extending the 6th schedule to Manipur is not merely a legal necessity, it is a vital step towards ensuring inclusive governance, safeguarding cultural identities, and fostering socio-economic development. The 6th schedule provides a unique opportunity for the hill tribes to reclaim their autonomy, enabling them to shape their future and address historical injustices that they have faced.